But yeah, okay. So, let's get started. So, Kimberly, welcome to Raw Recovery. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for y'all letting me join.
Oh, of course. So start. Can you take us back to the beginning? Like, where does your recovery story start?
It actually starts whenever I was at the age of 18. Um, of course, I got tied up with some friends. Was doing cocaine. Um, Ended up writing bad checks from my own mother's checking account, and of course, she filed charges, and
Mm-hmm.
I got charged for that. Of course, she was just doing what she had to do. Um, I got placed on probation for 5 years for that. Um, so that kind of somewhat woke me up of doing that. And then I went many years without doing drugs. And then again, around in my 20s, I tried methamphetamines for the first time um, with family members. It took me down a road for a couple years. Um, and then again, I went years also. It was like a pattern to me. Like I would do, drugs here and there for a little while and then go years without doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
when it got really heavy was actually about about 2.5, 3 years ago. Um I got hardcore on methamphetamines, dealing with, I was basically being homeless everywhere I went, and it was to the point like I was battling with mental health problems as well. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
that all builds up because I had a hard childhood growing up. I was abandoned. My father was never in my life. So all those things add up. My mom told me at a young age that I needed to talk to someone, but as a teenager being 15, oh, I got this. I could do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I know what I'm doing. I
it-
got it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I did not realize when I got older how badly that it could affect you mentally, and it caught up with me. So I was currently living in Alabama. The first time I went to rehab, it was in Ocala.
Mm-hmm.
My brother came and picked me up and did not know that I was being going straight to Lakeland Regional Hospital for detox. I got surprised when I pulled up at the hospital, but it kind of showed out. Was embarrassed after all of it happened, of course, how I acted because they would just want me to get help. So I spent almost a week in detox. Um, then Tri County got me into a place in Ocala, Phoenix House. I had a week, got out of the hospital. I had to wait a week before I could get a bed. So I went to Ocala and I was in there for like 3 months. Um, I learned a couple things the first go around. Patience. That was one of the hardest things is learning patience, being housed with 60 other women. And it actually going to the meetings there, it actually made me open up more because I'm the type of person, or I used to be a type of person like I didn't like to tell nobody my problems. If I wasn't close to you or feel comfortable, I did not talk about my personal life or my problems. But being in there and having to go to meetings and listen to other people tell their stories or part of their stories and their problems that they've had and how it caused them to lead into addiction. And I realized that, like, hey, I'm not the only person that has a problem. So
Yeah.
going to those meetings and groups starting at, when I was there in Ocala, like it opened me up a little bit. I took a trauma class there as well, and it kind of helped me a little bit because, I dealt with a lot, and it mainly come from my father not being in my life, of course. But um, so I spent 3 months there. Like I said, I actually got kicked out the week before I was supposed to graduate for taking up for other clients, being mistreated. They shouldn't have been. But I took it as, it hit me hard because I just wanted to get I've never gotten a certificate for nothing, or of anything I've done. It really hit me because I
Hmm.
tried so hard to do good and do right and do what I needed to do. And the lady that actually sent me there from Tri County, I reached out to her like a support system, and she told me, she's like, in my eyes, you completed it. That it's just a piece of paper. That was just a piece of paper that you didn't get. So you done really good. Most people wouldn't even last it a month. So I got out. I was clean for almost 2.5 years, and again, I got around the wrong crowd, and I got hooked on methamphetamines again, and um, I relapsed again. Grateful that it only lasted for 2 months. Sometimes when people go out there, they go out there further than others. But I was blessed that I was only out there for two months this go around. Lost everything, had a job, had a roof over my head, and the same weekend that I lost all that is when I got harder on drugs, and it wasn't taking me nowhere. Like all the times that I felt like my way wasn't getting me nowhere, but further and further down, felt like in the ground. And
Yeah.
when I was in Ocala, I did get close to God and learn a little bit more about God, more than I have ever. So, and I think I lost when I got out and started hanging around the wrong crowd again. I think I lost faith in Him when I shouldn't have. Um, this past year, uh, so when I relapsed, and I actually got a hold of fentanyl for the first time
Mm.
last year, and it almost killed me. Thank God my best friend was there that had been a nurse for over 20 years. Because I don't know what I would have done if I was by myself. But I
Was
reached
that
out to all my
on,
family. Sir?
sorry, was that on accident or was it on the fentanyl?
No, I didn't know it was fentanyl, or I wouldn't
Yeah.
have done
Okay.
it. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I reached out to my family saying that I need help, and of course I done lost touch with just about all my family members, and now I understand why, but then I didn't. I was angry. I think I was more angry at myself because I lost myself again, and I had been doing so good for 2.5 years. I thought that I would overcome that right then and there.
Mm.
Um, so my sister-in-law that I reached out to a week after I got a hold of the fentanyl, she says, calm down, tell me what's going on. She's like, before she even can say it, she's like, tell me if you relapse, just tell me, I'm here. And I said it so fast, and her tone never changed, and that's what I was so grateful for, because she understood me, because she's been in recovery before too, so she understood me. So within that weekend that I called her, she got me into the crossings in Bradenton, Florida. And by that Monday, she came and picked me up, and she took me to another rehab place. Um, I currently was there at the crossings. I you know, got back to myself, started being in the word, but doing what I needed to do. I was at the crossings for like 3 months, and then got suspended and went to another rehab that was in the same town, and I completed that one and left in January. By this time, I done overcome and realized that, I've hit rock bottom so many times that, there's only one way to do this life and continue to be in recovery and continue to stay clean, and realize that, going to meetings, doing literature work, having a sponsor, having a support system, knowing how grateful your higher power is. I learned a lot from that, and I continue today, no matter what. Like I stay in it, in my literature, my word, and reach out to my support system when I'm having a bad day, or feel like that I just don't want to be here. So all those things really helps. And I'm here to tell you, I'm living proof. I've been through so much in life, and you know, I've actually tried to commit suicide 4 times. I'm 41, 4 times, and you know, God still has me here for a reason. And I know my calling is to help people. I love helping people. Definitely to try to get through something that I've already been through to teach them that, you know, there's more to life. And in recovery, staying sober and being away from drugs is definitely there's more to life. It's you can still have fun and, you know, live life without the drugs and alcohol.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, that's a big realization that happens when you realize that there's more to life than drugs. I
yeah,
remember for the longest time I couldn't go camping and enjoy it because there was no drugs. And
I've been there, done
the
that.
yeah, and it's a beautiful thing when you realize there's beauty in the actual, like, whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's camping or whether it's, being with friends or, going to a cookout. There's beauty in the relationships, there's beauty in the experience. And um as like you heal more and more, you start to see how much richer that is, without the drugs on that kind of diluting everything.
Yeah, it is. And and you talking about healing and growth. That's, you know, I tell myself all the time I'm very proud just in this past years because I can see the growth and, you know, the healing that I've been doing and setting boundaries because, you know, like I I used to be a fighter. I didn't like like I didn't take crap off of nobody, but nowadays, you know, I if I get in a situation and if it's negativity, like I just remove myself from it because in this time of day, it's and for one, I'm getting too old, but you know, there's more to life for real than, you know, all the
Yeah.
trauma, the negativity. And so I just try to be positive and uplift, you know, and if I'm not having a bad day and don't reach out to nobody, I just turn, you know, I love music. I turn music on or I have journal before, you know, all these obstacles. There's so many things that you can do to take your mind off of the drugs and alcohol that will lead you to, you know, being an addiction. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's a blessing. I'm just so proud of myself and, you know, proud of the other, you know, other people that, you know, is fighting every day to do what they can do to stay sober.
Man.
Yeah, boundaries are important. You know,
Yes, absolutely.
they're for people who are in recovery as well as well anybody, but they're important because I mean, if you have somebody in your life that's always bringing drama or you know bad influences, whatever, there is nothing wrong with you know, all right, bye,
Yeah.
see you.
Right.
I can't love you, but I can't be around you, and I feel like a lot of people, well, I don't want to be mean. It's like, well, you're not being mean, but you're taking
Mm-hmm.
care of you. And that's
Right.
that's what you have to do. You can't help anybody else. My favorite analogy is a plane. They tell you if a plane starts to crash, in the
Oxygen
the
mask.
death mask come down from
Yeah.
the ceiling, like you put yours on first and then you help the person next to you if they need it. You have to take care of you first before you can take care of anybody else.
Absolutely. And you know, I've had several people, whether if it's in, you know, personal life or the times that I was in the recovery center or whatever. A lot of people would come to me, ask for advice for this and that, or, you know, just like I was a role model to them or whatever. And um, I try to help people and give them advice or whatever as much as possible. And no matter how many times they come to me, but there comes a point too, also that, you know, if they keep coming back talking about the same thing, you know, it's only up to you to change that. And that's a big thing for me too. You know, I see it, I hear it a lot, you know, in order for anybody to change, we can all try to help anybody through, whether if it's through addiction, through a problem, situation, you know, the sad part about it is we literally can't change them. They got to be, they have to want that change and want to do it and want to be better or do better in order for it to happen. We can't, you know, they can come to us all they want, but it's all up to them.
Definitely.
What was the the moment that made you want to change?
Honestly,
The influences
I
around it.
I believe it was a time, this last go around, whenever I got a hold of the fentanyl, because the whole time that, I used to, be in addiction or whatever, I always told myself that, if I had ever got a hold of fentanyl and found out who gave it to me or how whoever it was, that I would probably hurt them. And I was blessed that I was away from the town that I got it from within a week, because that could have caused me to go back to prison. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but and also too that I really wasn't going nowhere in life. It just felt like my days were getting worse, and I've tried it and tried it my way so many times. So I felt like that. Okay, now I have no choice but to trust and have faith in my higher power and continue to do the steps and the literature and work and let reach out to my support system, because that's what they're here. Because I didn't realize how much support going through recovery centers and recovery, how much support and people that care about you more than people that's never been in the recovery or in addiction. Like I've had so much support being in those programs. Like still today, they reach out to me, check on me, or whatever, whatnot, and that's a blessing because um I'm like most people probably, like having supportive people. I do a lot better than me just isolating myself in the room or just not reaching out to nobody when I have a bad day or situation that I could talk to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big, I mean, we're all relational beings. And if we get to a point where we think that we're better off without anybody, then we take this huge burden on our shoulders that everything has to be done by us. And the way we're created is that none of that is it's not a valid, how do I say this? It's not real. Like we can think that we can shoulder everything, but if we try to go down that road, it just takes one little nick, one little discouragement, one little bad blow up in a relationship, and we're left there with our only mechanism of solving that problem as our past experiences. And that causes a lot of people to fall back, whether it's relapse or whether it's going back into like bad relationships or something like that. You go to the most recent easiest way to solve that problem, and that oftentimes is going to be not a good thing. And so when you have people around you, like I think you said your sister who was helping you out on this last go around, is that correct?
My sister-in-law, yes. Well, we call each other sisters, but
Sister-in-law.
she's like a sister to
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah,
yes,
when you
I'm very
have
grateful
people
for her.
like that, when you
Yeah.
have people like that, it's like it gives you the strength and the courage to keep moving, and that's so it's so necessary, so important.
Absolutely, and um, it's also too because if I'm not mistaken, I believe she has 8 years under her being clean and sober. And
Wow.
when I go to meetings, um, I go to a place, that has a lot of old timers, and I
Mm-hmm.
speak highly about old timers. Some people may feel like that they don't like to go to meetings that there's a lot of old timers, and honestly, to me, I'm gonna learn a lot more from old timers just as well as I am like people
Yeah.
that's my age or whatever, because they got a lot of time behind them and they can give me the strength and courage and the knowledge to
Yeah.
continue to feed into me and tell me things that I may not know or understand, to keep me going in my recovery.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm a firm believer in that. Like on a job thing, I'm a welder by trade, and that was like the what I always heard was you find the oldest dude in the shop, the
Yeah.
oldest dude on the job, and you hang out with that guy because you're gonna, he's been in it the longest. He knows all the tricks. He knows all the, all the shortcuts, all the, and so you take your learning curve from a lifetime down to, very short period of time, as long as he's willing to teach you. But, that's yeah, definitely finding the people who have been in something for a long time. You want to hang out with those people because they're going to be able to get you to their level faster than you could on your own.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. I was thinking about when you were talking about how you were pretty bummed out you didn't get that certificate. And I just remembered in the back of my mind, have you seen Cars, the cartoon?
Yes, sir.
When Hudson Hornet has got his piston cups all dusty in the garage.
Oh, we're talking about cars.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris asked me a question.
And he says they're just a bunch of old dusty cups. And the real value there was not the award. It was the fact that he had spent a lifetime of accomplishment in this area. And your story and your success is more of a like a plaque of value than any piece of paper could ever be. And I think when you talk about the importance of helping other people, that is where that comes. A piece of paper is not going to help somebody else, right?
Right.
But your story and your ability to speak into dark, scared places is what's going to bring courage in other people's lives, and that is so much more than any accomplishment written on paper could ever do. And so I know it was a bummer, but I know that you're doing more than, unfortunately, most people that I have run into that have had those, certificates. And so awesome on you.
Yeah, I also I have gotten certified within the year too as well.
Awesome.
To go into jails and prison because coming
That's
from
great.
somebody that's been behind bars many times in my
Yeah.
lifetime, it's that's where a good place to do it at as well. And I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but I'm getting there. Um and I'm hoping to do more podcasts as well. So, with because I am hoping one day somebody may hear my story and it may help them along the way because I've heard other people's stories, and it has surely helped me. Every time I hear somebody tell their story in some way that form that it puts something up here that something I didn't already know
Absolutely.
or
Mm-hmm.
I pay attention to. So I'm very
Yeah,
blessed to be doing this.
that's for me, that's what makes stuff worth it. To me, that is what, the Bible says that God takes everything that Satan meant for evil and he turns it for good. And he says that all things work out
Yeah.
for the good of those who love him. To me, that's
Absolutely.
what that is. When you've been through traumatic events or you've been through hard times in life, which most everybody has, but your testimony helping somebody else, whoop, bumping stuff, your testimony helping somebody else is, to me, I could be
Mhm.
wrong. I don't think I am, but that's what makes what you went through worth it. When what
Mhm.
you went through can help, even just for me, just one other person, and it makes what you went through worth it,
Yeah.
or what I went through worth it. If it can help one person,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, hey, okay, cool.
And some people may not realize it, but for me as well, me helping somebody else, they don't most of the people don't realize it, but they're helping me in my recovery as well as me maybe helping them in their own recovery. And I love
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. I think that's another reason why I love to help people because, it may help me in somewhat in my recovery. And, you know, and I just love helping people. I was born to do that. I've always loved helping people no matter what.
Yeah, teaching is the best way to learn. When you know
Yeah.
enough to start teaching, then you can really start learning deep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
I
it's just,
think that
go ahead.
I was just thinking, you go ahead. I might take it a little far
Getting
away.
hip like
I want
over
you
here.
to
Somebody.
I want
No,
you to
I
finish
was
your
go
thought.
no, I was just gonna say, like, it's in my heart, like, I just wanna freely give back to others what was given to me the time that, during my, recovery, that's what's very important for me.
Yeah.
So when was, because I know that you've had some ups and downs, and you have linked that a lot back to the influences around you, like getting into the bad crowd again, stuff like that. what has changed in kind of this process that you're in now? What have you done to put in some, I don't know, roadblocks or, you know, things that have helped you to navigate that?
That actually goes back to boundaries. Because I noticed, I have sat and thought, this last year, like, and looking back, as you was talking about me, my ups and downs, like in the time periods of being in addiction, and like I said, I would go years without touching anything, whatever. It was a pattern that I
Mhm.
notice, like it felt like that every time that something horrible in my life would be going wrong, like that would, and I felt like I was stuck in between two walls. That what seemed like that was always the pattern of me, you know, falling, losing myself, and going back to addiction. And um, over this past years, like I said, I've set so many boundaries because I did not realize how important boundaries was, but like I have set boundaries, and like I don't, if if I get in a situation or altercation, you know, I'm calmer than I used to be. I would try to talk to somebody, this person, as calmly as possible. If it don't go that way, then I just remove myself, because if I don't, then words are going to get me. It's going to get me into, it's going to get in my head. I'm going to get angry. And then who's to say that that could cause me to want to go do something stupid, or, go get into something I didn't need to. So I just tell myself when I get in those situations to, either I'll lead to sticking at my boundaries, reading the word, anything possible that I have a conquered of doing, that I know that'll take my mind off of it and will get me through the day and get me through that situation. Because I would not let myself go back. I
Yeah.
can't. I won't. That's the whole point of setting boundaries. Like, I just stay away from negative people and drama people, uh, whether if it's family, friends that I've known for years. It's, my peace and my recovery, my sobriety is more important than anything else at this point.
Yeah, I was reading something the other day, and it was talking about um wherever you're at, whether it's recovery from addiction or your, you know, I mean, addiction goes a lot of different ways, but whatever it is that is a hardship in your life, it is super, super important to have a plan where, I mean, it could be something outside of what you can control, right? You could lose somebody
Right.
very close to you, and then you find yourself in this place of need. And to be able to have that plan kind of set forward where it's, these scriptures that I go to for strength, or whether it's this person that I'm going to call in this time, being able to have that as second nature so that you don't have to flounder and wonder what the next step is. That's absolutely amazing that you've got that on lockdown, and you've been working out on that, and you've already activated that at certain times. And that's a big thing that I think people, I don't think they're lazy. I just don't think they know how important it is, because when something hits you that takes your breath away that you didn't see coming, um, you need to have a whatever it is, just a route that you go down for that support, that courage that you need to get through that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that actually leads into a question that I had, which is, what I guess what steps have you taken to replace the bad influences on crowd with the I guess the right crowd, good influences? Have you done any of that? And if you have, how do you go about finding those people? Does that make sense?
Um, yeah, absolutely it does. But I'm just really like blunt and short. Like I went from having so many supposedly friends that they actually was associates, and wasn't truly my friend if they were feeding me drugs, or didn't want me to get out of addiction, or it's
Yeah.
are going the wrong way. Of course, that's anybody. But I just went from hanging out with a lot of people to my circle being like a dot. I don't
Hmm.
really, if I do have friends, it's maybe one or two. And that's only because I know that they're living the life that they should be. Because I would not like I don't go around people that's around drugs or alcohol. I just keep my distance. I can't, even though in my mind I know I'm strong enough to say no. If I was around it, it's just the principle is because I'm a firm believer of I've learned this in the recovery pods. Most people, if they go back to around the same crowd that they were in addiction with, there's a possibility that they're going to relapse.
Oh
And
yeah.
that goes back to change. If you don't change your surroundings, you don't change, period. That's you're gonna, how are you changing? The only thing you're changing is you're trying to live day by day, trying to stay sober, but you're around the same crowd. That's not, I mean, it's gonna be a hard thing to do. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I just choose to be around the right people that's, living life right and the mindset that I'm currently on. Because I mean, I just choose to do it that way. It's easier and peaceful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any trauma from your friends? Like, and I don't mean that they did anything to you or anything like that. I mean, like, so Chris, my wife, she's the one you've been talking to, setting all this
Uh-huh.
up. Um, she has a really hard time making friends now that she's sober because some of the friends, not all of them, but some of the friends that she had when she was in addiction were just horrible as friends, stealing and doing all these terrible things, that she finds it really hard to make friends now because she's just waiting for them to screw her over on something. Do you find that as well, or are you pretty
Absolutely.
past that, I guess?
That's a form of probably be a form of trust too. I have problems trusting people, of course, because I've helped so many people along the way of growing up and being an adult. That goes to the heart. I and I changed that as well. Like I used to help so many people. Like in an instant, somebody asked me if they need my help, I would jump and run. But you got to also set your boundaries there too. You can still be friend, care for them, but you got to do that from a distance. Absolutely, I feel her pain because a lot of people that tries to be friends with me, they're either still people I know that's still in addiction, or you know if I don't know them and I'm meeting them and they mention anything about, drugs or alcohol, like I'm like, well, here goes this because, I just choose not to do it. I mean, and we all know I've seen it plenty of times on Facebook and read it, that's whenever you lose all your friends when you change your life and get sober. And that is true to the fact because I thought I had so many people that was supposedly my friends, but once I changed my life and got sober and I'm sticking to recovery and sticking to sobriety and living life clean. It's like, dang, I don't have nobody to hang out with or whatever. But, it's hard at times, yes, because you miss, hanging out with people that you laugh with or smile with or whatever. But it also ain't worth losing your sobriety neither.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's something that I've noticed I lost a lot of friends when I got sober, and I've realized that the ones that are still alive, most of them saw the change that happened to me from a distance, and it changed something in them. And a lot of times that separation is something that is necessary for them to see the weight and the value of what you're doing. And when you lose friendships, even if they're just, you know, people you're hanging out and getting high with, like there's an emptiness there, and there's memories there that are not going to be replaced. There's all of this stuff that had an impact on that individual, and all of a sudden you're not there. And so when they think about you, they think about where's that person and what are they doing, and the reality that they're sober and they're living the life that they want to be living. That is a huge, like, step by step encouragement every time that person comes to mind. It's the reality that, man, if I had dropped this back then, I could be in a different place too. And I've seen a lot of my friends walk that road out into sobriety because of me leaving that. And um, something else I wanted to talk about was the commitment that you talked about, setting those boundaries. Like there's a level of commitment that most people don't recognize. We live in a society where being nice is valued, and being nice is usually defined by letting everybody do what they want to do and just taking the brunt of the negativity of that. And it leads to a lot of problems. Niceness is not a scriptural ideal for Christians. Like we're not to be nice people. We're to be people based on truth, right? And those are on a lot of times against each other. But the best thing that you can do for somebody is live in that truth, because it sets the example for freedom for them as well. And so when you're making those boundaries, you're making a commitment to sobriety, to recovery. And that commitment is requiring a lot of value from your end, because you can't take the old person into a new life, right? And so by killing that old person and leaving that back there, you have committed a lot to this purpose. And that creates buy-in, which means that you are more your value of sobriety is much higher than your value of going back to those drugs. And so it creates people who are able to stay sober longer because it's cost so much to get there already. And Absolutely. So I think that's a super necessary point when you're going through recovery. And I think it's something that needs to be established early on, because if you linger in the shallows where you're trying to accept everybody and you're trying to accept this new way of life, you have two worlds pulling you. But if you can set those boundaries early on and just kill that old you and say, this person doesn't exist anymore. I sent out a ton of messages and lost like 90% of my friends then. And I was like, this is it. I've burned the ships. There's no way back. And if I don't go forward, I'm just me here with a drug problem and no friends. So I need to move forward in sobriety. And
I'm in the worst place than I was before.
Yeah. So cutting those relationship ties is, for me especially, I don't think I could have been sober if I hadn't cut those out fast. And I think that's what recovery programs do really well, is they pull you away long enough to clear your mind, to realize that these influences are dragging you down. And it's so much easier to pull someone down than to pull somebody up. And so Absolutely. That is, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a very necessary thing that needs to happen in anybody's recovery. And it's not just drugs. It's same thing with pornography, same thing with anything that you see in scripture that pulls you away from God. You are going to emulate the top 5 people that you spend the most time with in your life. And if those people are not heading in the same direction as you in recovery, then that's going to be a bad thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, you talk about going back to being the old you and the new you. It's funny how you mentioned that, because I was actually going to say that something. I noticed a lot of people also, including myself at times, I've somewhat getting the point of it, but a lot of people has a problem with when they do get sober and clean and change their life. Other people, friends, families, whomever may still think that they're that old person, and they have a lot of problems dealing with that. But I'm here to tell you, some may take time, but it's when you change and do recovery and stay clean and sober, and if that's the life that you want, continue doing it no matter what nobody says, because it's your sobriety. It's not You're not the same person you used to be. So don't let nobody bring you down and think that you're not, because you're a changed person when you put your mindset to it and want to change your life.
There's a really good quote I'm going to butcher it, but the idea is successful people. What is it? Successful people don't have to be believed, because what they do in action proves everybody else wrong. It's something along those lines. But yeah, for a time, nobody's going to believe you, right? This is such an up and down world. Everybody wants to think the worst. And I'll tell you, when I got sober, there was a period of time where God placed me in people's lives that were going to stick around me. And he put very uncomfortable things on my heart to do. And I knew they were from God, and I knew that they were things that needed to happen to heal relationships and to set boundaries in my friends' lives and everything like that. And I mean, like, one of them was I had cut my family off, like, emotionally, and one of them was being very emotionally open with my family. And it was a point where everybody in the room recognized something's absolutely different with JJ. And it gave hope, and it gave me time to grow in that area, but people saw differences being changed. Another one was I got around a couple of friends that I used to get high with all the time, and they offered me some stuff, and I said no. They offered me again. They offered me again. They offered me again. And I was like, bro, I don't think you get it. And it was just this it was this loud proclamation. Like, you don't get it, man. Like, I absolutely love Jesus. Like, more than a giddy schoolgirl, in a crush. Like, I am head over heels in love with Jesus, and there's absolutely nothing you're gonna put in front of me that is gonna, like, take that away from me. I won't let it happen. And I'm like, I want you in my life, but you are never gonna ask me to do this again. And it was that, like, stake in the ground that I drew that boundary, and it was respected. And it was like things like that over and over and over again. I wanted to go to my buddy's house, and I wanted to share what God had done in my life, because I had just gotten saved. And he picked me up. He's already high. So I, like, chatted his ear off about my testimony for like 30 minutes on the ride to this house. I didn't know where we were going, and we're going straight to a drug den. And I get out of the car, and I'm like, where are we at, bro? He's like, just come on inside. And I go, and everybody's high. Everybody's there. And I'm like, I can sit here passive and allow this to go, or I can do what I'm supposed to be doing here. And I stood up in this middle of this room and just started sharing my testimony. And everybody is like, why did you bring him here?
Now your friend is hated because of you.
And so, like, it was just this season of, it doesn't matter where I go. Like, I'm not going to be stupid. Some of those I probably should have been smarter in, but I was really just pursuing. I want everyone that I love to know how good Jesus is. And so I'm going to go down that road. And if I get put in a spot I shouldn't be in, I'm just going to ask God for the strength. And I know that he's going to provide a way out of that. And no matter how much I don't like it, I'm going to do it. And so in that situation, that was it. And nobody talked to me, and I sat in the corner the rest of the time. We went home, and I didn't hear from him for a few years. So, but it was like,
what happened when you did?
We're good buddies still.
But what happened to him? How's he doing?
He's been on an up and down track. So he's there's been breakthroughs and there's been fallbacks, but
I was just curious if he was sober now or anything like that.
Not that I know of, but I don't know that for sure. So he could be, but
not to derail your comments.
Yeah, no, but it's just curious. Like, when you start to see, like what Dylan was saying, the things that Satan meant for evil, God can turn for good. And no matter what spot you get put in, if you are not afraid to be made a fool for Christ, God can bring good out of those situations, even if it's just freeing you. Because all of a sudden, I didn't care what anybody thought about me. I wasn't bound by their opinions. I wasn't bound by their relationships. I was set free to be this new creation that God was building. And um
He was just
that
doing his
was,
work.
yeah, it was absolutely
All
freeing.
he wanted you to
And
do is plant a seed. Like you said, you went to that one place and
yeah,
told your testimony why everybody was high. That was you done an amazing job of doing that, because all he sent you in there to set a seed. Whether if
yeah,
anybody took it to to heart, but I mean, you done your
yeah.
job. What he wanted you to do.
Yeah, and I know God speaks to people while they're high. Like I had like I I say amazing now, but there were times where God took my high completely over. It happened to be when my sister was praying for me every Friday night, and every Friday night for like months, I would get high, we wanted to have a good time, and then bam, it's like God would just like, what are you doing? You know, and it was just, it's those things, it's seeds that God continues to work on, and yeah, so important.
You saw since you said that situation, you walking in, like, it's crazy. This past year in March, I was headed from moving back from Tennessee to Florida. My mom got sick. I wasn't supposed to be driving, but I drove because I didn't feel like stopping because we were still like 6 hours away from where we was going. Well, I lost count of speed, got pulled over in Georgia, and yes, I went to jail. But the time that I was telling you that I've always wanted to do the go into jails and prisons. While I'm sitting there in the cell waiting for them to, I guess, book me in or whatever, and I'm sitting here talking to God in the cell. I'm in there alone. I'm like, God, what am I doing? Like, I haven't been to jail and for so long. Like, I've been living life right. Why you got me sitting in here? And then it just dawned on me an hour or two later, like, oh, I get it. I said, Lord, I said I wanted to go into jails and prisons, but I didn't mean you wanted me to actually come inside the jail.
I didn't mean as an inmate. I
He
meant as
said, I got a fast track for you.
But yeah, he wanted me to go in there
challenge
instead of plant
accepted.
a seed. So I went in there and planted a seed for 15 days because I only served 15 days. But yeah, I actually had a lot of women. They saw me reading the Bible and and speaking about God, and I helped. There were several women that got attached to me just in 15 days. I'm like, well, I guess my job's done. It's time for me to go. So yeah,
Man, that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I've always said if I go to jail, let's start a prison ministry while I'm in there.
I know somebody who's actually done that too. Yep.
I don't know them personally. I've heard of a few.
I know one personally, but
That's awesome.
well, is there anything else you want to share, or any other closing thoughts or comments, or anything you didn't cover that you want to?
No, I'm just grateful that I was able to come on here, and hopefully I can help somebody along the way, along their journey or whatever. And
Yeah.
anybody wants to reach out, I'm always here. Like I said, I love to help people. So I can give any advice or guide you along the way if I can help any way possible. So
Kimberly, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your story. I know it's not always easy, especially when you have to be vulnerable and share your mess ups. And it's I know it's going to help a lot of people, so I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
yeah, we all make mistakes, but like I said, it's all up to us yourself to make a change and learn from those mistakes. And because don't take life for granted. We only have one
Yeah.
life to live.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and we'll be in touch when the episode's getting ready to or Chris will when the episode's getting ready to come out. I
Okay.
think God's blessed it, and but what that does mean is that your episode will be coming out probably it'll be
Say
I
6.
think it's 6 weeks from
Yeah.
now, because
Okay.
that's how many interviews we have already recorded. One was released today. We release every Monday on YouTube, so it one released today, and then we already have the next 5 that aren't even released yet. So God has blessed us in that. That does mean that it's going to be a little bit before yours comes out, unfortunately. But
It'll come out at the right time when God wants it to come out. So,
Exactly.
absolutely. And let me tell you a super quick story, and I think I've already told you this, and this will be to anybody else who's watching. Funny how God works and just gives you those little winks of
Absolutely.
like, hey, what you're doing is what I want you to do. So the episode that is coming out on the October 6th. Wait, what month are we in?
About to be in October, yeah.
October 6th or whatever the first Monday is. This coming up Monday. Is we were telling her when her episode would be coming out. And while we were telling her, we told her the date, and she said, "No way, you're kidding me." I was like, no, why would I kid about that? I didn't, whatever. And she said, "That's my sobriety date."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Oh, well, hey, that's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And then the next person that we interviewed, me and Chris did, that one comes out, I want to say on the 20th. I may get the dates wrong. Anyway, one of them was that way. And then the very next person that we interviewed, maybe in November, but the next person we interviewed, we told her when that her video was going to be coming out, and
Right.
she was like, "You're kidding." I was like, "No, why do people keep think I'm kidding about this stuff?" She was like, "That's my sobriety date." And I'm
That's
like, "That's the
awesome.
second one in a row. That's crazy."
Yeah.
Right.
And so that, it's just, I like how God, those little things are God moments for me, of him saying, "Hey, by the way, what you're doing is what I want."
Yeah.
And it means a lot to me. So,
And it's
Speaking
actually
of-
kind of a cool thought that, when some of these coming out, they may be the deciding factor for some people to get sober. And who
Exactly.
knows, your episode could be somebody else's sobriety date.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of sobriety dates, I the whole time in the interview, I did not mention that in the next month coming up, I'll be reaching 16 months this go around. So,
man, that's awesome.
very good.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
When,
Praise God.
so that'd be October.
Yeah, my actual sobriety date is June 24th of 2024.
June 24th.
So who knows? Mine might land on the 24th of the month that it needs to land on.
That'd be cool. That's awesome. That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, that'd be.
And y'all
good.
doing a phenomenal job. This is something that I'm very grateful to be doing this.
Thank
thank you for taking the time and for sharing and being open.
Absolutely.
It definitely could be something that helps somebody, and we've gotten messages from people that is exactly what is happening. We're
Awesome.
not, we're still new, so we don't have like this giant audience or anything like that, and that's not really what it's about. But we have gotten quite a few messages from people. Hey, thank you for what you do. It's helping me a lot. Or, somebody gets interviewed on here and they tell us, "Oh yeah, all my friends watch it," and we're like, that's makes me feel kind of weird. But I'm very grateful.
All right.
But God's working in it, and it's people like you coming on here, telling your story, being real, and being open and vulnerable, that makes the difference. I'm not particularly I'm not very good at articulating things, so it's definitely not me. JJ's much better, so he has a good stake in it, but it's mainly you guys, the ones that come on here and want to share your stories, that makes the difference and helps people.
Yep.
We're just simply the platform to do it on, and I don't want to be anything different. So thank you for taking that time.
Yeah.
And like I said, we'll be getting in touch with you closer to time, so when it's coming out. When it does come out, you'll get a link to it so you can share it, and all that kind of stuff. And then after your video comes out on YouTube, for the next 7 days, we'll be posting shorts on it every day.
Okay.
Or shorts of it every day on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. all that kind of stuff. And you can share those if you want to, or whatever. But you know, that's how that works. So,
Alrighty.
Awesome. Well, God bless you, Kimberly.
God bless y'all as well.
well, thank you very much. Have a good rest of your night. We'll
You
be
too.
in touch.
All right.
Bye, guys.